Alright, so I'm doing a challenge trying to platinum every single game inside of the Ubisoft Plus game catalog on PlayStation. And if I can't do it before we hit 690,000 subscribers on YouTube, then I have to tattoo the platinum logo somewhere on my body. So make sure to drop a like and subscribe. Alright, so today I chose to do Ghost Recon Wildlands because it is the last Ghost Recon game in the list I have left to do, and also after I made the video on Breakpoint about a week ago or so, a lot of people said that Wildlands was like super bad, at least in terms of trophies that is, because you're required to get every single skill point in the game. Ghost Recon Wildlands has 44 total trophies including the Platinum, and the first stage is to, of course, just beat the story. And sadly, there isn't lots of trophies inside of the main story itself, but the way Ghost Recon Wildlands constructs the story is throughout pretty much just free roam objectives. You can do the story in absolutely any order you want, which sounds cool and was probably a great selling point when the game first got announced. Sadly, in my opinion, this makes the story extremely forgettable, and it doesn't really feel like a story because you basically do the same objective just with different cartel members for 20 hours straight. And all the while, very minor plot points are given that do quote-unquote tie into the story. However, you simply forget them when you go do the next random story mission that is the exact same thing. So from my point of view, the story is basically trash because it's pretty much non-existent, or at least non-impactful. The first trophy I did get though was from completing the first mission where you save some informant named Amaru. I don't know what is worse, my pronunciation of his name or the fact that the mission is just entirely consisting of us simply breaking the lock in his prison door and then flying away. What an insane start to this 5-star game. But hey, a trophy is a trophy. After that, I played more of the random story that the wonderful game portrays for us, and I encountered the Unidad AI police force very quickly. This is a new feature in the Ghost Recon games as far as I know, but it's basically an AI enemy that will shoot on sight and also after you're seen will never leave you alone unless you just run away. In fact, no matter how much you kill them or shoot them or even, dare I say, assert male dominance, they just won't go away. It reminds me a lot of GTA Cops when you reach heat level 5 and the only option is just die or go into the railways. Sadly, this game has no railways, so overall this whole Unidad AI system drove me damn near insane for the entire 40 hours or so I played it. After I got harassed for an hour though, I apparently switched on some radio side quests for the rebel upgrades in Ghost Recon Wildlands. There is lots of these green side objectives throughout the map, and you have to also do a lot of them to slowly upgrade your rebel skills. Honestly, I don't even remember doing this one, but I guess I did, and after I defended the radio for a few minutes, a trophy popped for doing my first side objective. A bit later in the story, I was then scouting out an objective because stealth in these games is basically needed unless you want to battle your little heart out all day. But I decided to get an easy trophy from just killing a sniper with a pistol. And I did it because it's literally the most basic trophy in the game. At this point in the story, I had sped through the first province missions and reached the conclusion mission, or the final mission if you want to call it that. But basically, every single province has one of these, and it consists of you just killing the boss for that province. The first boss in the game is actually two of them who go by the names of Spanish Girl 1 and Spanish Guy 1. I'm also pretty sure they have a weird fetish relationship going on because after I dropped them, I got two guns named his and her AK. They were also flirting down here in the torture rooms, which is even more odd.
A love so full as the love I have with you.
Oh, God, I feel the same.
But yeah, I did get a trophy for eliminating my first boss of the game. I then went like an hour or so with no more trophies because, as I said, the story trophies are very limited and we already have a few of them, so we can't expect too much in terms of constant dopamine hits. But eventually one of the boys joined me since this game's online play apparently works in 2024, which is very hard to believe, to be honest. But before we did the co-op trophies together, I got one for knifing an enemy in the dark. One of my favorite things to do in the dark, the others won't be mentioned. Anyways, I played quite a few of these little missions with my new homie who just joined up and got the 3 missions completed trophy in co-op right here. I then sent him a message real fast asking him if he could damage an enemy and let me kill it after, because that is yet again another online trophy. And if you aren't in contact with a person on your team trying to do this, I can also imagine this being very hard to do, especially since I failed myself numerous times to do it and did indeed die just a little bit. But hey, I did get it eventually, so again, W teammate, we are basically best friends now. And that was actually the final online trophy also, so now I get to go back into my cave and play alone, thinking about my past life choices for the rest of this game. And that's exactly what I did, which led me to play alone for another hour until the next trophy I got popped. And this trophy is also just for finding my first legend in the game. These are quite literally just a collectible that leads to nothing, so that's convenient, I guess. And the trophy I got after was again multiple hours later, and not even for the story. Oh no, it was from just tagging 100 enemies with the drone that you use throughout the entire game because Ghost Recon Wildlands loves stealth. My next 2 trophies received into my collection of thousands were also both non-story. First being from using the parachute 10 times in the game, which is very self-explanatory. And the next was a collective trophy from just driving 100 kilometers total in the game. Now sadly, this is an easy feat inside of Ghost Recon Wildlands. I say it's sad because more than half of this game's length and playtime is derived from just traveling. In fact, if you told me this game was actually called Beyond the Border Driving Simulator, I would believe you.
Oh my god!
Thankfully, however, around 2 or so hours later on in the story, I managed to complete the entire influence operation. So just to clarify, this game has a total of 21 provinces that the map is divided into, with different cartel leaders inside of each one. And each leader also has a classification like influence, for example. And this trophy is gotten after you complete all of the other influence provinces total. So yeah, that's a bit of a mouthful to explain, but there you go. And my trophy following it was actually from completing the product operation, so we really are making some progress finally. However, this final mission we had to capture some poor old dude, and there was a whole family intervention here. I'm not gonna lie, I felt very out of place. They also don't like Americans, which is totally okay. We aren't that great.
I'm sick of this anti-American bullshit.
But yeah, there's the trophy pop after all of that random crap. The next trophy was also gotten from just doing more operations completions, which is going to become a trend, I think, because lots of trophies in this game don't pop unless you directly go for them. But this operations conclusion has a bunch of different vibes to it. You know, instead of family problems, we just put this poor guy at gunpoint and demanded he tell us everything. What a good strategy. Speaking of good interrogation strategies, here's another one. First, you need to drive up to the target and almost run them over. That way they have a miniature heart attack. Then you need to hold their hand up to your cock and shove them in a van so they think this is going someplace dangerous with a zesty twing to it. But you say psych and pull them out, leaving them confused and also curious. At this point, you have truly captured them both mentally and physically. So now we just threaten to blow their brains out.
Maybe I don't blow your brains out. I want the...
Oh, and yeah, that was the 20th interrogation I've done, so I know what I'm doing. I also know what I'm doing when it comes to spotting targets because I ended up finally spotting 100 enemies with the binoculars a bit after that for a trophy. And then around 65 hours or so later on in the same day, I finally completed the entire smuggling operation, which was indeed my final operation before complete control of the entire world, at least I think. And the final boss of this operation was looking like mommy, I can't lie. I actually almost wanted to just let her out, but the girl director didn't see her in the same eyes that I do. A tragedy. So that is basically it for the game's main story trophies, aside from, of course, the final one, which is actually gone from just reaching El Sueno, who is the main villain of this game that we only see once, and it's in this cutscene right here. We didn't even get to kill the guy either, the dumb lady operator did. I actually feel kind of scammed right now. So anyways, there's the game's final 2 main story trophies that you can get. Honestly, that story was such a nothing burger, there isn't really much else to say, aside from now we get to begin the hard part of this game. So the next stage pretty much consists of you just having to get all the collectibles, XP levels, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Sounds simple, but this takes hours upon hours to do. First, I went solely for documents around the game. These aren't necessarily hard to find because they show up on the map, and the game also has a counter for each province. But the hard part is just getting to them because, again, the map is giant and travel times are not fast by any means. Which is what makes this such a grind to complete because you literally have to travel so far in total, it's crazy. But the first trophy I got from this was from getting 50% of the documents total. Kind of a toxic trophy though because I was already exhausted from this, and then I just got reminded that we are only halfway through. What a day. The trophy following that one, however, was not the All Documents trophy. Oh no. It was actually the Max XP level trophy. This is because gathering collectibles does in fact give you some XP, which is very nice. Also, while getting documents in this game, I was gathering weapon cases along with it because those are another simple collectible that has a few trophies to do with them. And as a matter of fact, the next few trophies all had to do with me unlocking all the different guns in the game from said weapon cases scattered about. But after getting all of those, I was also nearing all of the documents and legends, which led to the document trophy popping right here. And by the way, I didn't even get all the documents, I was still missing like 3 or 4. But the trophy popped, so I can't complain. And also the same thing happened with the legends trophy, so I guess they must have added in some new ones or something like that, I don't really know. And now my last real collectible in the game was the bonus medals. I sort of skimmed past these because I was being lazy and I didn't want to get them in addition with everything else, which is why I had to go back and get them all after, and it took like a half an hour more or something. But again, the trophy popped before I even gathered them all, and I was low-key surprised since I still had more than a few left have to get. So that's interesting. Gotta love the typical Ubisoft game experience, just broken. So stage 3 is now here. This is by far the worst stage out of them all. I know the last stage was the collectible one, and most people hate doing that, including myself. But boy, oh boy, this stage takes the cake. Stage 3 requires you to unlock every single skill, do all side missions, and unlock all rebel upgrades. This requires you to do numerous, and I mean numerous, resource fetching missions, so you can have enough for the skill upgrades. Each skill requires both a certain amount of skill points and also a certain amount of resources. These can vary from 1 skill point to like 6, and from say 40 medical supplies to over 11,000. So yeah, overall it's just an extremely awful experience and made me really hate and despise this game for everything it has to offer. But the first trophy I got during this was a random one for hitting a helicopter in the air with a mortar. Pretty cancer if I do say so for myself. After that I got a trophy while I was in a convoy resource mission, and it was from tagging 10 total, which is literally one of the most unmissable trophies ever because convoys contain the best amount of resources for skill points. So if you don't do them, you're an idiot is what I'm trying to say. About an hour after that I did end up finally getting a skill point trophy, but it wasn't for getting them all. Oh no, I'm not even close on that one. It was for just maxing out one specific class of skills, so yeah, I hate my life. I didn't stop recording for a while because I didn't think any more trophies would pop until all of the skills got bought, but I forgot there was another trophy for just the drone skill branch, so there's that one after it popped. I then just continued doing resource missions and all of that crap, but ended up finally using the drone to blow up an enemy, which was also a trophy funnily enough. And finally, after literal days of going for skill points, I managed to get them all right here after I shamelessly blew up this convoy and ruined all of the materials inside of it. What a damn grind. So the next part of this stage is to get all of the rebel upgrades. These aren't nearly as bad as the skill points though, and I did pretty much all of them in about an hour or an hour and a half. But they again just have similar objectives as the skill points do. However, they are much easier. And I actually got 2 trophies for doing all types of side objectives and for maxing out a rebel upgrade. But then a few minutes after that I also finished all of the rebel upgrades in their entirety, which as I said wasn't horrible at all. So now it's basically the cleanup with the remaining miscellaneous trophies I have left. But don't be deceived because these are also ass, cock, and balls all at the same time. First, I got a trophy from blowing up a generator with a C4 charge. We pretty much are playing Counter-Strike now, let's go. Next, I went after the hard kill trophies I had left, which is actually all I have left to do. First, I tried to get the 7 kills with 1 C4 trophy and found this nice spot from a previous mission. But I ended up failing fast and also noticed it was a perfect place to do the 400-meter sniper kill trophy, which is exactly what I did and totally first try, might I add. Long story short though, I ended up failing this C4 kill method over and over because I wasn't very good at it. But the room for error is quite large since the C4 blast radius isn't exactly giant. I did end up getting it though after only a few more tries and restarts, which was very nice. I then had only one more trophy to get before the platinum, and it's from doing the exact same thing but with a mine. And Lord have mercy, if you're a part of my Discord server, you would have seen me slowly lose my mind for not being able to get this goddamn trophy. The method originally is the same as the C4 where you try to group up enemies and then just chuck a mine in there, but I found that to be nearly impossible for me at least. So I ended up doing the other method of just stealing enemies and throwing them in cars, and then once you have 7 you put a mine down and it blows up everything, giving you the trophy. So I did both of those for hours, and I literally do mean hours. Also, numerous times I know damn well I killed over 7 enemies with a mine and still no trophy popped. This of course led me into thinking that the trophy was both broken or I was just losing it and not doing it right. In addition, I did also lose another controller from anger, but it wasn't my main controller, it was a stick drift one, so it's okay, we just forget about it. Eventually, after more hours of failure and me taking a mental break from the game, I would end up finding out that there is actually 2 different types of mines inside of Ghost Recon Wildlands. The proximity mine and also the normal mine. You can probably see now where I'm going with this. Yeah, the proximity mine doesn't count for the trophy. Not sure why, but it just doesn't. So I tried those same methods again with the normal mine, and the trophy worked finally, with the platinum right after. I actually don't think I've ever had such a frustrating time with a game before this one. That last trophy was extraordinarily stupid, and sure, it was my fault. But why wouldn't they just allow prox mines also? Like, it's still a f***ing mine. I don't know what more they want from me. Also, I really loved my character would get stuck frozen in the air, leaving me no other option but to restart my game and also fall slower into insanity. Ghost Recon Wildlands review out of 10. I'm gonna start doing these after each game so I can look back and remember my thoughts on it later on in life. So with all things considered, I'm gonna put Ghost Recon Wildlands in at a solid